fine with this audio thing, and it just tells it to play. And here there's some fix me, which you don't need to look at, but, well, it just waits for the duration of the web file and then just quits the program. So fairly simple. And I have another example. Let's see. I think I compiled it already. Okay, so this is a cloud with snow falling. That's it. And now we can see a bit how it's implemented. It's all using web stuff. So by now this should feel familiar to everyone. We just create the window, add the view, blah, 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 load the content. The content is actually, it's pretty much nothing. It's just a link to a CSS file, which is here, and then one SVG, which is, you know, this huge thing I just copied from the internet. I think it has an open license, so it's all legal and fine and great. But, you know, just don't tell anyone, just in case. And it's actually using one nice feature from HTML5, which is you can just embed SVG in an HTML document without doing anything in particular, like not using object tag or using plugins or anything. This only works in fairly recent WebKit builds, but it works in mine because I'm using a development build. So what this does is just shows the cloud in the middle of the page or in the corner of the page, and links to this, which sets some basic style information, like the background, the blue background for the page. And then let's see what the program does. When the document is done, finished, it says create snowflakes. So we go to see what create snowflakes does. Flakes. This is actually amazing. These are the Unicode points for the snowflakes. So in Unicode, there's characters for snowflakes. When I found this, my mind was blown away. Then we have an array for the sizes, because if you remember, some snowflakes are very small and some of them are bigger and some of them are really big, like this one. So you have an array with some frequency set, so it will show them with different sizes, sort of randomly. We get the document and then we create 25 snowflakes. And I mean, maybe we don't have to go through this, but basically what it does is creates a div where it sets a class snowflake and it positions it sort of randomly in the page, and then it sets also randomly, as you can see here, it's using the random function for the Boolean. It's returning true or false randomly. So if it's true, it will the snowflake will turn clockwise, and otherwise it will be counterclockwise. It says the style properties for animations that I will show you how they work now, and then just adds it to the page. I think we can, here you can see it's adding the snowflake to the page. So it's creating 25 random snowflakes moving randomly and adding them to the page. And the beauty of it is that all the animation is just done with CSS animations, which are available in CSS3. So basically, for each snowflake, you just tell it that for infinite duration and some functions to control how the animation exactly behaves, it will drop. Which, if you go back here, you can see it's what we set for each snowflake to drop and fade. Because when it reaches the bottom, I don't see if you can actually be able to see it. Okay, no. When it reaches the bottom, it actually fades away. So each flake will fade and drop, which are CSS3 animations we just defined here. As you can see, it's fairly easy drop. It just means move from this position to this position. When you are at 0%, you start here. When you're at 100%, you have to finish here. And fade just means control your opacity, so you start like visible, and when you are 100%, you are invisible. And the other animations we set are counter clockwise spin and clockwise spin, which are just rotations for from some degrees to the other, like from -50 to 50 or from 50 to -50. These are just different classes for the sizes, which we set randomly, and that's pretty much it. And the thing with this is that instead of, if you were using some GTK animation library, you'll probably have a fairly reduced amount of examples available in the web. Hopefully some really good examples in the GNOME documentation project. But, you know, since GNOME is not extremely widely used, there's probably not many people using it to do these kind of things. But for CSS animations in the web, just Google anything and you will get like thousands of examples. You can just take, modify, see if it does what you need. You just put it in your program. Then with the DOM APIs, you just set a few parameters to them and you can just get the animations that were defined in the web page. And it just looks exactly the same because it's using WebKit, the same that the web page you were rendering in your browser. So I think that's a fairly convenient way of doing animations or all the other things I have shown that you might need to do. So that's pretty much it for the demo, I think. This is a work in progress. We started doing this like, I don't know, last year, more or less, so we have been working on it for a few months. There's still a few things to do, but as you can see, it's fairly complete and you can already do quite so many things. If you want to use it now, it's already available in the stable releases we are doing of WebKitGTK, starting from the 1.3.0. The next stable release will be the 1.4.0, which will be released around March next year for GNOME 3.0. And if you want to join us or ask any questions to us about this or other WebKitGTK topics, you can join our IRC channels. Most of the development team is in both of these channels in Freenode. And the WebKit from the page for the main project is webkit.org, and then there's the specific web page for the GTK port, which is webkitgtk.org. You can visit any of those, and that's it. So if you have questions or...
Yeah, any questions?
So is it possible to code a GTK main program inside the HTML with JavaScript?
Okay, I don't quite understand what you mean with the first thing. What do you mean inside HTML?
Because now we try to interact with the web content inside our GTK programs, but now you can connect to the signal, the DOM signals, and do some signal handling. But can we do it in an opposite direction? For example, we code a GTK program inside the HTML content with JavaScript. Is it possible?
Ooh, okay. So basically, it's not quite related to the GObject on bindings because you're going in the opposite direction. So what you need to do if you want the JavaScript in the web page to be able to access the GTK APIs is to share. You need to share the JavaScript context of the. It's fairly complex actually, but you need to be using a JavaScript binding library for the GObject implementation, which is called SID, which uses the JavaScript core engine. And you need that library and the JavaScript in the library and the JavaScript in the browser share the same context. And then you can just access from SID the JavaScript code or the other way around because they just share the context. But this has actually fairly serious security implications because if you allow the JavaScript in any page to access all the GTK stuff, they can just go and delete your hard drive or wherever. So it's probably not a very reasonable thing to do unless you are sure it's just for local content. So I don't know. There's people experimenting with this. It's called a SIDKit. You can just Google it, and it's a project to share the context so you can just access, as I explained, the theme. But, I don't think they have thought through completely the security implications. So if you're planning to do that, just see what you're doing and see if it's safe or not. I don't think that having the JavaScript in the page itself using the APIs of the system is mainly a good idea. What I think is much easier is to just write the JavaScript using the JavaScript bindings for our platform, and then use the GObject.bindings through JavaScript to set the web content. So that's much safer because you're going in the right direction. You're just always going from the program to the bottom. So I don't know. I think I will do that, but it's up to you.
还没有人有问题的。So, and I think this is this is really cool, amazing. I was really totally shocked, and yeah, myself is totally shocked for how amazing it can be, and so it is already a mature library in production status.
So WebKitGTK, we have already made 2 stable releases. So it's, I don't know, it's fairly mature. I think it's used, as I said in the slides, in many projects. The GObject bindings are still not in any stable release because they are still work in progress. So the API for this particular stuff I've shown today is not stable. We might change it a bit yet. That's the reason we are doing unstable releases still with it. But as I said, we hope in March of next year we will make a stable release. And from that point on, you can rely on it being completely API stable.
Will it be supporting HTML5?
Yeah, we support it already. And some of the things I've shown are actually sort of related to HTML5, like the CSS is a different specification, but most people, treat together CSS3 with HTML5. So this is no thing I show was CSS3. And then the SVG, the cloud in SVG, being able to use it directly in the HTML page is also a HTML5 feature. And then through the GObject bindings, I was able to use, if you remember, the audio tag to play the sound in the DEFCON thing. That's also HTML5. And in general, we support any HTML5 feature WebKit has. We support it through the GObject bindings. So yeah.
Also, I have something that I think many people here are interested in. Is it only compiled on i3, A6, or can it be compiled on ARM or other architecture?
Yeah, I mean, it's C++ and C, so in theory it should be fairly portable. I know there's people using it in ARM, so at least it works on Intel and ARM. I'm not sure about any other platforms. Maybe Holger knows, but...
Well, it should work on ARM, MIPS, SH3, Spark is mostly working. MIPS Limited contributed a JavaScript just-in-time compiler for their platform, so I think we're pretty good in the mobile space.
I think many people are very shocked at this wonderful, very cool idea, and it's very cool code you are presenting. And if there's no other question, we thank them for the wonderful speech. Okay. And we took a little rest. We take about 4:25, and then we'll start about 10 minutes, and we will start the next speech.